Revenge films.
My name is Lily. I'm an office worker living with my husband, Brian. After I lost both of my parents in an accident 3 years ago, Brian became the only family I had left. We've been married for 2 years now, but lately, things haven't been going well between us. When we were dating, we rarely fought. Things were peaceful. But over the past few months, we've been arguing constantly, and it all started when Brian's older brother got divorced. His brother had been living with their parents along with his wife, but about 6 months ago, his wife packed up and left. The reason? She was completely worn out from being treated like a maid by Brian's parents. They never lifted a finger, but they just bark orders while she did everything around the house. Eventually, she hit her limit and walked out. Brian's brother was furious, blaming their parents for the breakup, and followed his wife out the door. That left just his parents in the house. With no one around to cater to their every need, the house quickly turned into a disaster. Junk piled up and the place started to look like a dump. When the neighbors started complaining, guess who they called for help? Me. Brian's parents demanded that I come over and clean. The place was a total wreck, but I spent every weekend for a month scrubbing and organizing until it finally looked livable again. I thought I was done. I thought I'd get my weekends back. But instead, they got used to it. Now they were calling me every week, expecting me to come clean, run errands, and cook, while they lounged around watching TV or napping in the living room. I finally understood why my sister-in-law left, so I talked to Brian about it. I told him I was being treated like a servant and I needed his support, but what I got instead shocked me. He said,
"They're your family too now. What's wrong with helping out your parents? Be a little grateful and show some respect."
I couldn't believe it. I said, "Can't you at least ask them to do the things they can do themselves? I'm exhausted. I never get a proper day off anymore." And then he snapped.
"If you can't even take care of the only family you have left, I seriously question your personality. If helping my parents is too much for you, maybe we should just get divorced. You can go live your lonely life since you've got no one else anyway."
He stormed out of the room, leaving me stunned and heartbroken. I knew I had no other family, and yet he used that against me to guilt me into submission. I was deeply disappointed in him. Still, I wasn't ready to throw away our marriage just yet, so I decided to endure it for now. But the more I gave in, the worse things got. His parents piled more and more on me, treating me like their personal maid, just like they had treated his brother's wife. One evening after work, I got a call from my in-laws saying it was urgent and that I needed to come over right away. Worried, I rushed over. It takes me an hour to get there by car, only to find them sitting in a pitch-dark room, eating dinner by the light of their phones. When I asked what was going on, my mother-in-law said, "The breaker tripped. Fix it." Stunned, I blurted out, "Wait, that's what you called me for?" She snapped. "What do you mean, that's it? We can't reach it, it's too high. It's dangerous to climb on a chair at our age. Your brother-in-law's ex-wife did it for us without complaining." Reluctantly, I climbed up and flipped the breaker. The lights came back on and my father-in-law casually said,
"Oh, good. It's bright again. You can go home now."
That was it. After an exhausting day at work and an hour-long drive, I was called out just to do something this trivial. My patience finally snapped. I told them firmly, "Please don't call me for things like this again." That's when my mother-in-law pulled something out, a divorce paper, and waved it in front of me. "If you're going to have that kind of attitude, we don't need a daughter-in-law like you. Plus, my son is ready to divorce you at any time." Honestly, I was shocked. I had no idea my husband had been talking to them about divorce behind my back. I planned to confront him as soon as I got home, but before I could even say a word, he confronted me.
"I heard what you said to my parents. You gave them attitude?"
I told him everything, how exhausted I was, how unreasonable his parents were being. But instead of understanding, he said,
"My parents are going through a tough time since my brother moved out. Just help them out."
I snapped back. "If it's so important to you, then you help them." Then he pulled out the same divorce paper I had seen earlier, already filled out, and said,
One more word of backtalk to me or my parents, and I will file this. Consider this your final warning.
I looked him in the eyes and quietly said, "That's fine." Then I took the papers. That night, something inside me shifted. I'd had enough of him, of his mother, of everything. So I started moving things little by little into the condo my parents had left me when they passed. I had never told my husband about it. It was my only inheritance, and I'd always kept it a secret. In a safe place, just in case I ever needed it. At one point, I had considered moving in there with him, but now I was glad I never mentioned it. Over the next month, I secretly prepared to leave. I kept playing the obedient wife in front of my husband and his parents so they wouldn't suspect a thing. I knew that as long as they saw me as useful, they wouldn't actually want me gone. The divorce threats were just a way to control me. Then one day, while my husband was at work, I called a moving company and had everything packed and sent to my condo. I took the signed divorce papers my husband had given me and went straight to the city office to file them. Afterward, I called my husband and in-laws and said, "Let's meet for dinner tonight. There's a great old sushi place near your house. My treat." When the scheduled time came, my in-laws arrived at the sushi restaurant looking unusually enthusiastic. Not long after, my husband showed up straight from work. It was the perfect setup to carry out my final plan. I glanced over at the sushi chef, who was quietly preparing orders behind the counter. Then, loud enough for everyone to hear, I said, "So, you were serious every time you said you'd divorce me the moment I talked back?" The chef's hands froze for a second. I saw him glance in our direction. I continued, "Honestly, I'm done being treated like a maid, threatened with divorce anytime I speak up. I'm tired of it." My mother-in-law gasped. "Hey, what are you doing saying something like that here of all places?" My husband, clearly embarrassed, jumped in.
You're unbelievable! Talking like that to the only family you have? Apologize right now!
I looked him dead in the eye and said, "They are not my family. Not anymore." Then I calmly told him that I had already submitted the divorce papers. He went pale.
You're kidding, right? You did what? You can't just do that! Cancel it, now!
I shook my head and said, "Not happening. You filled it out and stamped it yourself, remember?" My mother-in-law snapped. "You have nowhere to go and no one else. If you go through with this, you're the one who's going to suffer." I smiled and replied, "Actually, I'm just fine. Living with people like you, lazy and completely out of touch with reality, that's what's stressful." Right then, the sushi we had ordered arrived. The chef set a beautifully arranged platter in front of me and said with a warm smile,
You've been through a lot. Time to be happy now. I'm rooting for you.
He had made me a special deluxe set on the house. While my in-laws fumbled through awkward excuses and tried to save face in front of the well-known local sushi chef, I calmly enjoyed my sushi, thanked the chef, and walked out of the restaurant. Finally, I am free. After I kept ignoring my ex-husband's calls, he finally gave up about 2 weeks later and went quiet. But not long after that, I got a call at work. It was him again. He said his mother had collapsed at home and was now partially paralyzed. Then he added, "Taking care of her is too much for us. Please come back." I immediately replied, "No," and hung up. With just the two of them, my ex and his father left to care for her. Things quickly spiraled. My ex started taking time off work so frequently that he eventually got fired. They had to give up their apartment and move back into the family home. To make things worse, the sushi chef from that dinner apparently shared what had happened, and soon, rumors about how the in-laws had treated me started spreading around the neighborhood. Now the three of them are living together under one roof, ashamed and socially isolated. As for me, I'm enjoying a quiet and peaceful single life back at my childhood home, surrounded by memories of my parents and finally free from stress. If I ever decide to get married again, I've promised myself one thing. Next time, I'll make very sure I know what kind of in-laws I'm marrying into.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.